The second Adam Silver called his name, the NBA didn't just welcome a rookie, it lit a fuse.
With the 16th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Yang Hunsen.
Yang Hunsen, 7 feet of fluid menace with the footwork of a guard in the presence of a storm. The 16th pick wasn't drafted, he was unleashed. Defenders don't guard Yang, they endure him. In China, he turned the paint into a demolition zone with elbows as warnings and second jumps that broke physics.
A week with the sun for vacation. Oh, Yang Hunsen with his highlight dunk of Summer League.
Arenas left hoarse, chanting his name like a war drum. And when Yang smiles, it only means one thing. Destruction is coming. The entire NBA is already bracing because they know that grin isn't celebration, it's a warning. Dubbed Baby Jokic by his Chinese fans, Yang is now a Portland Trailblazer, but he's not just a rookie. He's a movement. Broadcasters are rewriting scripts, sponsors are stacking zeros, and every spin, block, and dunk that rattles not just rims, it rattles the entire NBA ecosystem.
Here in the Summer League, there's the footwork and athletic ability of Yang Hunsen.
So, here's the question. Is Yang Hunsen the league's next empire or its most dangerous cautionary tale? Subscribe now, because this isn't just a debut, it's a detonation, and no one, not even the NBA, sees it coming. Yang Hunsen wasn't born a force of nature. He was forged, piece by piece, in the unforgiving grind of gyms that never seemed to sleep. His body grew faster than defenders could adjust, with long arms and longer strides, swallowing space until they looked undersized just standing next to him. But it wasn't the body that scared coaches, it was the mind. They whispered about him like he was some experiment that had gone too right. A teenager who never seemed to burn out, a competitor with no off switch. Scouts didn't just spot him, they circled him like hawks, realizing this wasn't about one viral dunk or a highlight reel. It was the way he solved problems they hadn't even thought of. The way mistakes seemed to sharpen him instead of slow him down. Those late nights in the gym weren't extra credit for Yang, they were oxygen. The echo of his shoes on the hardwood was the soundtrack to a hunger he couldn't switch off, the kind of hunger that fed on every missed shot and turned it into obsession. Development in Yang's world wasn't just training, it was transformation. Every drill was another cut of the blade, every rep another strike of the hammer. This wasn't practice, it was weaponization. So when CBA teams signed him, they weren't adding a prospect, they were unleashing something closer to a predator. He didn't just learn the game, he rewired it. Boxing out became a calculated strike. Rotations looked like traps sprung on the unsuspecting. Baiting cutters wasn't a defensive move, it was psychological warfare. Brick by brick, sweat by sweat, Yang built the foundation of a player who wasn't just good, he was inevitable. And now the NBA gets to find out what happens when a 7'1" chess piece doesn't just move, he hunts. His rookie season in the CBA wasn't a breakout, it was a hostile takeover. By 2024, Yang Hunsen wasn't simply winning awards, he was stacking them like a debt collector with no mercy. Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, First Team honors, an All-Star nod. Then he did it all again, only louder, meaner, and more unstoppable. The numbers painted a brutal picture. 16.6 points, 10.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.6 blocks. But numbers could only hint at what opponents felt in real time. Defenders didn't just see Yang in the paint, they felt him in their lungs, in their hesitation. Guards pulled up short instead of driving. Big men reconsidered post-ups they'd rehearsed 1,000 times. Coaches burned timeouts not to scheme for points, but to rethink whether their entire offense could survive one man who had turned the rim into a no-fly zone. And the most terrifying part, he wasn't just a shot blocker, he was a playmaker. Those 3 assists a night meant Yang wasn't simply erasing your offense, he was dictating his own. Dominance wasn't the right word for what he did to the CBA. It was closer to erasure. like watching a storm wipe a city off the map, and now the NBA has to ask the only question that matters. What happens when a player who rewrote the rules of an entire league comes across the ocean not to adjust, but to burn everything down? Yang Hunsen didn't just play basketball in China, he rewrote it. State media anointed him the Dragon's Reckoning, splicing his highlights between propaganda reels. Every dunk wasn't just a play, it was a political statement. Every block wasn't just defense, it was national vindication. The CBA wasn't just his league, it was his laboratory, where he dissected grown men with footwork so fluid it looked like sabotage. But China's love affair with Yang wasn't admiration, it was an addiction. Online forums didn't just discuss his games, they weaponized them. A 20-point night had him labeled as Yao's heir. A quiet fourth quarter had him labeled as an overhyped fraud. The government-backed sports machine pumped his name like a war chant, and the people demanded a conqueror. Meanwhile, NBA scouts, once dismissive, started scrambling. Clips of Yang dismantling CBA veterans leaked onto Twitter, sparking a dangerous question. What if China finally made a monster the NBA couldn't contain? Brooklyn, the green room. The air so thick with tension you could taste the doubt. Then, the detonation. With the 16th pick, the Portland Trail Blazers select Yang Hunsen. China exploded. Streets flooded, phones melted, hashtags trended like a digital revolution. This wasn't just a draft pick, it was a cultural detonation, proof that the East could still birth giants, but in America, the reaction wasn't cheers. It was war. A marketing pick, sneered one analyst. Portland just sold its soul for jersey sales. Twitter became a battlefield with comments just like this. Chinese fans declaring Yang the next Hakeem, while NBA diehards laughed. CBA stats don't translate. The Blazers' war room? Leaked reports said they fought over the selection. One executive called it genius. Another muttered that it was career suicide. Yang stood on that stage smiling, but behind him, a billion people watching, waiting, expecting. And the NBA, it just invited a storm inside. Physically, Yang Hunsen is a specimen at 7 foot 1 inch tall with a wingspan like a cargo ship and hands that swallow rebounds whole. In China, he wasn't just Defensive Player of the Year, he was a one-man riot squad, swatting shots into the third row and setting screens that left point guards seeing double. But the NBA doesn't care about what worked in China. Scouts see red flags. Can he switch on to guards? Doubtful. Does he have a post game? It's rudimentary. And will he survive in a league that punishes slow big men like a public execution? That's unknown. Meanwhile, Chinese media pumps out headlines. Yang will dominate from day one. ESPN fires back with the most overhyped prospect since Darko. The truth is, no one knows, and that's what makes this so dangerous. Yang isn't just a rookie, he's a proxy war between East and West, between hype and reality, between a league that's skeptical and a nation that's desperate to believe. Portland didn't just draft a player, they lit a fuse. Standing 7 feet tall with hands like grappling hooks, Yang Hunsen looks like he was built for the NBA paint. Scouts drool over his rebounding instincts and his ability to erase shots at the rim. The numbers back it up. Double-doubles, swats, and a defensive presence that forces teams to rewrite their playbooks. On paper, he's a coach's dream. But fans aren't reading scouting reports. They're asking if Yang can actually keep up with the NBA's turbo pace. Can he guard mobile bigs who rain threes from the corner? Can he survive when the game speeds up and mismatches expose him on the perimeter? He's not Jokic with the ball, at least not yet. He's a giant, but giants in the NBA either dominate or disappear. And here's where the debate rages. Is Yang a foundational star or a project? Analysts are split. Some call him a future all-star. Others see a bench big who flames out once the hype fades. The truth is, he's walking into a league that eats potential alive if it doesn't deliver fast enough. Fair or not, Yang Hunsen can't take the floor without Yao Ming's ghost hanging over him. Every dunk, rebound, and stat line gets instantly compared to the Hall of Famer who put Chinese basketball on the global map. Broadcasters already drop Yao's name before Yang even touches the ball. It's not just basketball anymore, it's heritage. Some argue these comparisons are flat out unfair. Yao Ming was once in a generation with soft hands and a global personality that made him an ambassador as much as an athlete. Yang, meanwhile, is more raw, defensive-minded, and rugged. Yet, the question lingers, if he isn't Yao, is he considered a failure by default? That's a crushing burden for any 20-year-old to carry. And yet others say the shadow could inspire. Yang doesn't need to be Yao. He could be something else entirely. A tougher, nastier version of a Chinese big man. One that embraces grit over grace. But let's be real, if Yang falters, the narrative will be brutal. Another Chinese prospect who couldn't handle the NBA. The stakes couldn't be heavier. Now, make no mistake, Yang Hunsen is a balance sheet problem as much as a basketball one. The NBA isn't just drafting talent, it's buying access to a market of 1.4 billion eyeballs and ad dollars. If Yang explodes, jerseys sell in Beijing. Broadcasters grab more rights, and sponsorships print money into currencies. One player can tilt networks' valuation models and reopen a closed door for China NBA deals. But that's where the danger lies. If Yang stumbles, that billion-dollar bet looks reckless overnight. Brands hate uncertainty. TV partners hate controversy, and markets punish narratives that don't produce ratings. The league could lose more than face. It could lose negotiating leverage, frozen ad dollars, and a reluctant China pipeline for years. This isn't hypothetical, it's corporate risk dressed up as hope, and every miss will be amplified in boardroom spreadsheets. Bottom line, Yang's success or failure is no longer just his, it's a macroeconomic event. The NBA's global playbook has a single fragile hinge, and right now that hinge is a 20-year-old in a Trailblazers jersey. The internet split like a snapped cable. On one side, you've got diehard optimists, analysts, Chinese fans, brand managers who see a once-in-a-decade market unlock. They point to his blocks, passing, and the way crowds go silent when he pins a shot. Proof that superstardom is a heartbeat away. On the other side are skeptics. Veteran NBA scouts, armchair GMs, and a chorus of American pundits who call him tender, non-switchable, and just not ready. This is more than sport, it's identity theater. International fans will push legend, domestic critics will sharpen knives. The narrative forming is brutal. If Yang explodes, he's a cultural hero who proves the global model works. If he tanks, he becomes Exhibit A for every skeptical exec who ever said the CBA talent doesn't translate. The debate isn't just loud, it's expensive. And it's already writing headlines before the October tip-off. Here's the acid truth. Yang Hunsen's career is already bigger than a rookie storyline. It's a geopolitical business experiment with sneakers attached. One season of dominance rewires markets, while one season of failure closes doors for a decade. The NBA has bet on hope. China has invested in narrative. Sponsors have drafted fantasies into budget. That's why every possession matters. Because this isn't just about wins and losses, it's about whether an entire pipeline gets a second chance or a long freeze. So, where do you stand? Are you buying into the hype? Are you convinced Yang will become the bridge the league needs, or are you calling the whole thing a dangerously expensive gamble that could set back international growth? Drop your take in the comments section below. Are you Team Empire or Team Bust? Which are you betting on and why? Subscribe if you want daily tracking. We'll follow Yang's highs, his tumbles, and the boardroom fallout because this roller coaster just started and someone's trillion-dollar future is hanging in the balance.